Hey guys, how's it going? I hope everybody's doing great. I am well. I hope everyone is having a great Monday, or whenever you're watching this. I hope you're having a great day. I finally got to go out and have a decent walk tonight, so I'm a little sweaty. I need to shower, but I haven't done a video in a week, so I felt like sitting down and doing a message. Um, yeah, it's been so hot. I know that everyone, unless you've been up north, you've been having high temperatures, and we've also had quite a bit of rain. So I didn't go out and walk in the rain, and I have been walking in the heat just late at night. And tonight I didn't go out as late, but the temperatures have been cooling off, and I'm so grateful for that. I got to see a few dogs on my walk. I always love when I see animals, but especially dogs. I love dogs so much, and I can't wait to have one again. There was a guy and a girl at the playground. I think it's been a week or maybe two. And I love seeing dogs, even at the playground. But this particular couple, I thought something was just off. I just felt the vibe was off. It wasn't the normal friendly. Sorry, I had to cough. It wasn't the normal friendly um, dogs or people, even. I don't know. I didn't want to talk to them. I didn't feel drawn to their dogs. One of the dogs was like growling, and I just immediately thought, when I never think, why don't they use the dog park any other time? I'm like, oh my gosh, dogs are here. And the one that was like growling at me, I just kept my distance from, and it looked like an older dog. I don't think it could have done much anyway, just so I wrote it off as like an old grumpy man or woman, dog, whatever. And then I pulled up today, and the guy was there without the girl, but he had the two dogs, and this lady was there with her three boys, and she had a puppy. And right as I was about to get out, one of his dogs like lunged at the puppy and didn't hurt the puppy, luckily, but I knew those dogs were aggressive. So that was like the least favorite part of my walk, although I did get to pet the puppy and the puppy was fine. But yeah, I waited in my car until that guy with his dogs left, because it's just not something I want to be around. And I encourage you all to distance yourself if you get bad vibes or if anything feels off at all. You don't have to be around anything you don't want to be around. So if you're not comfortable with it, keep your distance by all means. I'm just really glad that puppy wasn't hurt. But it was so cute. It was so cute. And the lady reminded me of me, because usually if I, would see children around my son's age at the playground, and having played at that playground with him many times, it would have made me sad, but I so celebrated her and her relationship with her children, because she was up and chasing them around just like she was one of the boys, and that is so something that I would do. I played with both of my children on the playground as if I were a kid myself, because I first of all, they were both basically raised as only children because they're 12 years apart. They did overlap at home together. And then the most recent time, with my oldest being back in my apartment with his dogs, they got to experience time together, butted heads quite a bit. It was like honestly living with both of my ex-husbands at the same time, because when they were around each other, their masculine side came out more, and they both acted like their fathers, and I was like, oh my goodness, what the heck am I in? But I yeah, always played with my boys just like I was a kid on the playground, and I still play on the playground myself without them. So um just their presence is missed very much. I saw my oldest the other day, and that was interesting because normally I would have cried immediately after, but the growth, Lord, thank you so much for the growth, because it has saved my life. Me growing and changing and evolving and integrating shadow and doing shadow work, and healing, like, it's been a lifesaver, like, transmuting those energies, going within, working on myself, and not letting the circumstances that I have gone through be internalized in any way that made me give up on myself, give up on other people, or to in turn become jaded or treat people the way that I've been treated and, close myself off to where I will never give anybody else another chance. I know that people that have yet to come in my life are not those people. And they deserve their own fair and equal opportunity to do what hopefully they will do spectacularly with, as I am attracting those that have vibrated and vibrating the same as me and have done the same amount of work on themselves. So, no sense in shutting them out. But yeah, I saw my son, and he's on a motorcycle, which motorcycles have been very key to part of my journey. It's very weird. Like I never would have thought, but now when I see motorcycles, I'm like, of course, more motorcycles. I'll go into that more like later on when everything comes out. But yeah, on a motorcycle, it was pretty nice. He looks like he's doing well for himself. I know that he loves motorcycles. He was right at the end of my street, so no doubt he knows where I live. He could come by anytime he wants. I heard something a while back that said someone that you really miss knows exactly where you are and how to get in touch with you. And they weren't talking about me, they were just talking about in general. Someone that you miss could contact you or come by and see you if they wanted to, anytime they wanted to, but they aren't. So don't don't chase, attract. Don't lower yourself to begging, groveling, chasing, anything like that. You are wonderful. And just because someone treated you like trash in their life doesn't mean that you are trash. It doesn't mean that because they fumbled the ball and that they had higher priorities than you in their life. That is their choice. It really has nothing to do with you at all. If you did something wrong, which I know that I haven't, then you should say you're sorry immediately. I always taught both of my sons this, that if you were in the wrong and you valued someone or something, that you should apologize immediately and not wait. And I don't feel that I've done anything wrong. I've been over backwards for both of them. I know that I haven't been the same mother to both of them, and that is where growth comes in for me as a person, as an individual. That character development in this journey has been amazing. And I saw with my children being 12 years apart that it wasn't the same version of me that raised them, especially with them only having a small time in the house together. It was definitely two different versions of me. And I feel like even the short time that I say short, but it seems like forever. It's been less than 2 years, but that I have been apart from both of them. I think that I'm a different person now, even than the version of me that raised each of them separately. So there's always things that I felt like I could do better, but I tried to do the best with what I had at the time. Did I make mistakes and always do the best that I could have at the time? No, but I admit that. And I have definitely apologized to the oldest for that, because he started holding a grudge against me before all of this stuff actually came to a head. But yeah, I've had to forgive myself for that too, because in doing shadow work, things come up where I regret not having been um, around as much during my oldest's teenage years, and not having a tighter rein on him, and having to basically drag him across the stage for him to graduate high school, because he had a very bad truck accident where his truck rolled 3 times, and he got a concussion, was out of school for a week, well, planned on being out of school for a week, and then didn't want to go back to school at all his senior year. So he missed like a month. And I basically had to get in touch with his school and get all of his teachers to put together a packet that he needed to complete to get him caught up and to get him back in school and motivate him to get across that stage. And I think once that he did, he was very proud of himself and glad that he did. But it was a struggle getting him up into school and back in the swing after that accident. But he did it, and I'm proud of him. I'm very proud of both of them, actually, for making it through what they've had to go through. When I talked in previous videos about your soul tribe, I do believe that both of my sons are my soul tribe, and that the devil does not want you and your soul tribe to be together, because while you're good all by yourself, you're a force when you're together. And we definitely all have a bond together and separately. And together, I don't think as much of the things that I've gone through would have been possible, or hardly anything successful at all. But those that are lost and not found, those that are playing hide and seek as God and not remembering who they are, not giving themselves permission to wake up and to step fully into their infinite, powerful beings that they are, that they're still very much the oldest, at least, under the control of something else. And probably at this point very upset that those things didn't work, because he put all of his eggs in that basket, and heaven forbid I not curl up and die. Heaven forbid that all of their plans not work out according to the plots and schemes. I'm I'm not sorry that it didn't, but he definitely took wrong turns that he didn't think were going to be wrong turns. When you bet against your mother and you think that your mother isn't shit, for lack of a better term. I'm trying not to cuss these days, but yeah, that's the first thing that comes to mind. He treated me like crap. And then I cut him off, and then when everything really, really, really went bad, I thought I would give him another chance to do the right thing and help me, and then he cut me off. So, seeing him the other day was just like seeing anybody else. And I never thought that I would say that about a child of mine, someone who I made eye contact with him, and I have always admired him and loved him unconditionally, even before I knew what unconditional love for others was like, or that I was ever going to be capable of that. Loving myself unconditionally and strangers even, but I do now. But always knowing that that's the way that I felt about him and his brother. I never thought that I could just look at him like just anybody else and not let it crush me, or pull me back to a place that I have very much worked so hard to get out of. But I did, and he narrowed his eyes at me, and I'm not sure if that was a menacing move or if he was trying to keep me from recognizing his eyes, because his eyes are my eyes. I've looked into my own eyes, I've looked into his eyes so long now, and I was 23 when I had him, so I definitely know by his energy that it's him. But even squinting, narrowing his eyes, whatever you want to call it, they're still my eyes. They still look just like mine, no matter what they're doing. But I'm happy for him. I'm happy for him that he has a nice bike. I hope that he is doing well with his dogs and his business, and that, even though the plan with me didn't go as he thought it would, that he has still made the best of surviving in his choices. And I know that it's impossible to leave something like that, especially when you're dealing with cults, or Masons and Eastern Stars, which are still cults. You can't just leave. You have to stick with the decision that you made, because if you leave or you do something that is deviating from the plan, you are in jeopardy yourself. So I don't expect for him to do an about face. I don't expect an apology. In fact, if anything did come, I would be very suspicious of it, because why are you doing this now? Why are you circling back? Why are you not staying on that side? I would feel like it was a last-ditch effort to try and distract me or be something that it's not, as a ruse. So anyway, yeah, I just wanted to talk about that. This is somewhat of a diary for me. It helps me to get things out, but as you can see, I've come a long way, because I have teared up about these things many times in my videos, and although I still love him and miss him, I am super grateful for the growth and for being able to detach and remove myself so that the things didn't go the way that they wanted them to. Because just because you think I'm trash, or you wanted to treat me like trash and throw me out, doesn't mean that I have to do that. That's just your decision. That has nothing to do with me or my life or what I want to be and how I want to help others, and that I still have a purpose, and that God is waking me up every day for a reason, and I'm going to make the most of that as best as I can. So I'm glad that I've been able to walk this walk and not turn into mush, to not turn into a big sad mess that couldn't move forward. It's been so refreshing that I could choose an option like that and actually put one foot in front of the other every day until it becomes my new normal. And we all have that resilience. We all have that perseverance inside of us. You just never know how strong you are until you're put in that position. And I think, in my opinion, our children choose us. That is my beliefs. You can have your beliefs, and I'm not saying that you're wrong for that, but this is my channel, and that's what I talk about on my channel are my beliefs. And I believe that our children choose us when they co-create that plan with God, that we, as source energy, we come up with that plan together before you incarnate into this life, and that we choose our parents. That is part of our plan, part of our mission, part of our purpose. And they both chose me, and that is what I believe. And I believe that we could have all been, and still could at some point, been a trifecta in this, because they had to divide and conquer. Therefore, we were all given separate testimonies, separate exposure to different people and different parts of this plan. And I have given my testimony time and time again, and they have told them, and hopefully God has told them if they have gone within. Like, I have also suggested that we have a voice, and we have to step into our power and speak our truth, and the truth will set us all free. Even if that means some people have to get in trouble, it'll still set them free from the mental prison that they've put themselves in with that losing hand. And the ones that come out and tell the truth first are offered the most leniency, because if you tell the truth or apologize after the fact, it's only because you got caught and not because you chose to do the right thing before it was too late. So, not to say that we won't all still tell our testimonies one day, but they won't have the same effectiveness if they are not given at a certain time and compiled together, because my oldest son was around more adults, given exposure to everything, before, during, and after. My youngest has had exposure to different set of people and different set of plans. And I know that my oldest did enter the picture to help along the plan for my youngest at a certain point, and it was effective, but I'm proud of them for surviving and keeping the balance in their life, however that they needed to do that to survive and be healthy, to still be able to live their lives in the way that they needed to be successful with what was put in front of them. But yeah, it could have been the trifecta, could still be the trifecta. Very, very powerful and different and unique testimonies that we all have, and comprising all of those together is a mean package. It's a something that would be served very harshly for several people, and I don't have any ill will towards them. I know that everything is working out just as it should, and I am just where I should be, right when I should be here. There's no mistakes, no coincidences, and I don't regret anything that's happened because it's made me who I am. It's made them who they are, and we have free will. And even if we choose not to wake up to who we are and to go within and to find our purpose and get on our path, we will eventually. And whether that has to be by repeating cycles or getting karma for not doing it the first time that the choice was offered to us, then so be it. It'll just take you longer to get there. It'll take you learning lessons more than once to be on your mark. So that is one thing big about detaching from people that are very, very important to you and that you never saw your life having to go without, is that we are all on our own here. We are God's children. We are all source energy. They do not belong to me. As much as I would like to say for the rest of my life, they're my babies, they're mine, they're not. They're not. They have their own plan. They have their own missions. They have their own set of choices and their own free will. They don't have to do anything that I want them to do ever. And they'll still be okay because they are source and God has them just like He has me and you and all of the rest of us. So they have to learn their own lessons in their own time and do what they were sent here to do. So at a certain point, you have to go with the flow and surrender to the way that it was set up to be. And I know that mine's working out good and that they should never worry about me. And I try not to worry about them, but I still pray for them every single day and send them love and light. And I know that they will end up right where they should be in divine timing. So, yeah, I just wanted to share that. I wanted to do this message about dreams. And it didn't come out that way, but I talked about that a little longer than I thought I was going to, but they are a big part of my dreams. I wanted to talk about dreams in that I want you to write them down. I want you to take them seriously. I want you to embrace them. We all have gifts. We are all gifted. You just have to focus on them and sharpen them and strengthen your gifts, and they will be bigger and better and stronger and more clear to you exactly what they mean when the time is right for them to be used in your life. It's just another, a skill along the way that you will hone and you will use to your advantage whenever you need to. And Source, our guides, they will give us different signs, synchronicities, feelings, thoughts, dreams along the way, gifts along the way, and dreams are a big one for me. So that's why I wanted to talk about this. I have dreamt my whole life very vividly and always in color. When I was a child, I used to wake up hyperventilating, and they would call it asthma attacks. And now I know, as an adult, having had several of those types of dreams without someone to guide me into calling them something that they were not, They were very, very strong dreams that would um, rid me with anxiety, and I would wake up having a panic attack. It was never an asthma attack. They were panic attacks from very, very vivid dreams. And even after my dad died and I went to counseling, I went to Christian counseling, which was provided by my youth pastor, who later became a doctor of psychology. And um, somewhere in the time of him getting that doctorate, he was my father-in-law. So, preacher, father-in-law, psychologist. Um, he has passed. He passed last year. I didn't find that out until a bill collector called me looking um, for his wife, and I was like, why would they be calling me? I haven't had communication with them. Why would they be giving my number out to bill collectors? And I thought, oh, he must have passed. I knew he was sick, but not that he had passed. But yeah, that's how I found out. And then I went to counseling with him after my dad had passed away. I was 14, and in that Christian counseling, he told me, he asked me about my dreams and if they were vivid and if I remembered them, and then told me to start writing them down and put a journal by my bed and to document them whenever I had something before I would forget, and to bring that to counseling and share with him. So shout out Dr. Bob in Christian counseling. If I went to Christian counseling right now and started talking about a dream journal, they would probably start dousing me with holy water because that is not something that the Christian community embraces. And it's very funny that I think back about that time and how he was pushing it so hard. So very, very conflicting. But also I had vivid dreams sporadically, but then they were more pronounced when I was pregnant both times. And I still never wrote them down, but I would tell, my husbands about them. And once it was that my ex-husband was cheating on me, in which he had cheated on me. So that was the first time I was like, there was something to that one. In retrospect, I should have listened to that, even though it was funny. I often laughed them off and thought, oh, that was crazy or whatever. I never really thought about their meanings. And sometimes I would look things up online or in dream journals, and they never really seemed to resonate with me and make sense as far as the dream went and how it could be put into meaning for something that was happening in my real life. So I just always thought they were entertainment, even though some were very, very real. And like I said, I would wake up with anxiety and feeling like I was having a panic attack, that they were so real. But I would run and hide from these things, from my gifts, for years, try to block them out, try to forget about them, and like I said, laugh them off and make them be like entertainment. But they're not. They're not. When I was staying with that couple that gave me the bait and switch through this journey, they had thrown a gun into my hand, and I had a dream about how he tried to use that gun to frame me for something. And when I woke up the next day, I asked him to wipe that gun off because I had that dream. And then he said, oh, dreams don't mean anything. And now I know that they were really trying to do that. And I was right in asking him to do that, but he didn't want to do that because he knew that it would foil whatever plan he had in motion. But yeah, I never really took them seriously. And then as an adult, when I would drink alcohol, I would not dream at all. And not until I stopped drinking alcohol did I start dreaming vividly again. Like when I completely cut it out of my life, I would dream very vividly, and every single night since then. And that's been a few years now. Prior to me moving in with my uncle, I had stopped drinking alcohol and have dreamed every single night. Oftentimes it's lucid dreaming for me, which means you can control what happens in it. And a lot of times, for a lot of people, not just me, I've read that lucid dreaming happens right before you wake up. It's in that moment, where you're kind of half in sleep and you're half out, which I thought as far as research goes that you can read about, is that a dream state would happen during REM, and it would take you, hour or 2 hours to get into a fully deep sleep to where you were in that REM state and you would dream. But to me, I'm not in REM when I'm dreaming, not lucid dreaming anyway. I know that I'm dreaming, but I'm still dreaming. Like, I'm not fully asleep, I'm not fully awake, but I am aware that I am dreaming and that I could open my eyes at any time. It wouldn't be a struggle for me to get myself awake. It's also not a struggle for me to control what happens in them, although I don't always do that, because sometimes I like what I'm dreaming and I don't want to control it. I want it to just happen, like a ride, like a movie, and it's beautiful that way. And so only times when I say I would dream about having a past loved one in my dream, or if I'm with someone that I want, answers from questions that I might have, then I might try to control the dream and ask questions or do something that I wanted to do that I haven't been able to do with that person in a while because they're not here, or things like that, things that would make the dream better for me as far as an actual experience that I would like to have in my physical waking life. But yeah, lately, after going through what I've been through, I started getting dreams to where those that had done me wrong were being exposed in my dreams. People that are not in my physical, that I wouldn't even have expected to be part of these plots and schemes, have been involved. And it would be here, there, and they would tell me in the dreams what they had done, how they had played a part. And I have not confronted most of these people. Two that are reoccurring, that come up often. One whose birthday is today, which is July 30th. So I'm not sure when I will post this, but July 30th is her birthday. And I had a dream about her again the other night with her friend from high school who I didn't go to high school with. And then I saw on Facebook today that that friend had something very horrible happen to them. And that has been also a reoccurring theme with these, that the people that have wronged me and have been exposed in my dream after my dream will almost immediately get karma. And some of them have been multiple deaths to one family, losing jobs, losing money, losing children in one way or another, like horrible things that I would never wish on anyone, by the way. I am not in any way making these things happen, nor would I wish for these things to happen to them. But they are exposed to me in the dream, and then in my waking life, something bad will happen to them. And I've even had dreams where people will try to harass me. Most of my dreams are good. I don't wake up with the anxiety as much. I will feel it, but I won't let it like control me to the point of a panic attack. I can separate, unlike when I was a child, that this is a dream and I am awake from this dream and that didn't really happen. But yeah, I don't ever feel like I can't control that anymore. But in the harassment dreams, the ones that are less savory, I will have, someone trying to threaten me or harass me in my dreams. Sometimes people that I don't even know in the dreams. But then they'll say something like, well, what are you going to do about it? And I always answer very calmly that I don't have to do anything. I just call judgment on you. Like, I just tell my dad on you, basically, that God knows what you did, that I don't have to do anything to you. And that kind of stems from my last video, and that I don't have to run up to you and yell at you or whatever, because you are me and I am you, and that we are all here doing our own thing, that I can't control that. It's none of my business. Vengeance is not mine. And it's kind of like with these dreams, I don't have to confront any of these people, that they get their karma on their own and with no help from me at all. Like, even in my pettiest of shadow self nightmares, I would never wish these things on these people, nor would I ever want them to be in pain or suffer, but that's not up to me. It's not up to me, and I don't have to do anything but keep being the best version of me every single day. And what happens to them, I can't control. It's not pleasant to watch them go through it, but I would say at least 10 times I have seen someone in my dreams tell me that they did me wrong, and then in real life, in my physical life here on earth, something will happen to them. And it has confirmed a lot of my dreams as far as why I had them and how they did have real meaning in my life. And um, I have reoccurring dreams about one of my former friends that I haven't talked to in years, and I would never tell them that I know that they're involved or that they've told me they're involved in my dream or anything like that. But when things happen in people's life, I can't ignore that it happened in my dream, and that karma does get served on no part of your own. And it's not going to be pleasant to watch, but karma is a real thing. Spiritual warfare is a very, very real thing. Energy cannot be destroyed. You send it out, you talk bad about someone, that's spell work. Whether you know the hocus pocus, the bibbity bobbity, whether you're online searching up spells or you contact or pay practitioners, whether it's anything like that, any Harry Potter, anything, when your words are very powerful, they hold power. It's you putting energy into something. So energy can't be destroyed. It can change form as far as transmutation, but it's going to hit somewhere. It's going to hit somewhere. And if you are protected, if you are on mission, you are anointed by God, and you are being obedient, it's not going to hit you. It has to come back and go somewhere else. I don't send it back. And if I've ever sent it back, it would have been with love and light. I used to do that. But now I ask for it to be sent back to source so that it can be transmuted into things that we can all use for our betterment, for fruitful seeds for humanity. I don't send it back even with love and light anymore, but it has to go back somewhere. It has to go somewhere. And if it's not hitting me, who is it hitting? If you look into those topics, oftentimes your pets can take it for you. I have had stories that have come across my feed, and people that I've trusted to talk about these things, that they have said that sometimes they will hit your animals. I have had 2 pets definitely around me that got sick and died like out of nowhere. And I'm not saying that that was spell work, but energy cannot be destroyed. It has to go somewhere, and that is how karma works. If it's not transmuted, if it's not caught, you don't eat it and make it into something else, which I love to do. I love to eat it and turn it into something that I can use. I love it. That is one of the biggest survival skills. It's a huge flex, and I'm not afraid to say it. I am humble, but I am also teaching you guys humbly how to do it as well, because it saved my life, and I want it to save yours if you are ever in the position of needing something that you can very much take control over and use to your advantage in turning it into something that is beautiful for you. So do your exercise, do your dancing, your singing, you're being creative, you're drawing, you're journaling, whatever, meditating. You can turn negative energy that you feel weighed down by, that you feel making you sad or depressed. You can use that energy and turn it into something else. I want all of you guys to know that that is very real, and I have done it time and time again, and it will change everything in just a few minutes, and ripples of that for days and days to come. And then you will know exactly what to do with it when you feel it next time. It feels heavy. It's low vibrational. It's very dense. It'll feel like you're wearing loads and loads of wet blankets all at the same time, and that you're barely moving and everything hurts. And you can turn that into something else, and you can be dancing in no time and be free of it, and it doesn't affect you like they wanted it to affect you. So spell work can be words. Negative intentions can be sent to you, and negative energy can be sent to you in many, many different ways. But if you know how to be proactive and you know how to turn it into something else and use it for good, all the better. But if not, and you are still walking obediently in your purpose on your path, it will go somewhere else. It won't hit you the way that they wanted it to hit you. Even if you feel the negative effects of it at all, it won't impact you the way that they wanted it to impact you. The smear campaign will not have the gravity that they wanted it to. You will not be lynched on the witch hunt, because it's not going to hit the way that they wanted it to hit, and it has to go back somewhere. And that's how I feel like the things in these dreams have gone back, and they've been exposed in the dreams, and the energy that was sent with what they wanted to do to me was sent back, and it hit somewhere in their vicinity or themselves. And a lot of the times I have seen it affect the people around them, and not even them, which I can't even imagine the guilt from that, because you do something and you expect it to hurt someone else, and then it comes back and it hits an innocent person that you are affiliated with, that had nothing to do with sending the negative energy to that person. Like, I just think that's horrible, because they had nothing to do with it. But yet, because they are related to you, or because they are around you, they have the consequence of that being sent back and hitting somewhere, and them not even knowing where or how. But you can never be in denial. You can't unknow what you did. And if it comes back, I would advise you to learn from it and not try to call it something else, because you know why it happened. You know what you did, and you know why that happened. Don't be in denial about it. Just course correct and fix it. Fix working on you, so that you are not in negative, low vibrations, and that you are not trying to send things in the way of gossip and slander, aka spell work, to someone else, so that that negative energy, you don't know who you're sending it to, or what vibration they're in, or what they're being protected by. We all have ancestors. We all have spirit guides. We all have a team that surrounds us that you can't see, and you don't know what someone else's team or what their mission or purpose consists of. So there's no way that you can anticipate, if you send that, exactly what's going to happen, even if it's worked time and time and time and time again. You do not know everyone's calling. You do not know everyone that's anointed. God hides them in plain sight, just like the devil does. Just like the devil does. So Source is also working to be that Robin Hood, and to using the things that are bad traits that we have learned from, and that we do not put on the forefront, but we have integrated. They don't ever go away. They've been integrated. They're still there. We can use them for good whenever we want. So even when the devil might use tactics of sending their agents in undercover and being manipulative and gaslighting and all of those things to try and mask who they really are on their mission for him, God also does the same things with his chosen ones. He hides them in plain sight. So you never know. You never know. And even if you go and have readings, even if you ask your ancestors and whatever you believe in, how you can get things like this revealed to you, those people know even better than you do how things will come back. And they are not going to do something that will bring harm back to them either. So whether they lie to you, or whether they tell you no, or whether they do it and know that it's going to come back and bite you all in the ass, they know that it's not smart to do that either. They know better than you that it's not smart to do that either. So it would be in their best interest to just not do it. And if they choose to take your money, they're lying to you about how they're doing it, because they're not really doing that. Because doing that and knowing it's going to come back would be harmful to themselves, and they don't want to do that to themselves. So it's not a good option. Not a good option. But yeah, pay attention to your dreams. I can tell you better than anyone that I've ever talked to about how these things come to fruition and how these things being revealed. Um, I've seen my grandmother. This is how I know my soul tribe very well, because I have the same like 6 or 7 people that show up in my dreams repeatedly, and they're not always. I believe that we exist in several different dimensions at the same time. That even though we are here in this body, not as this body, but this is the storyline that we are playing out in this reality, that we are also in other dimensions, in other realities, playing out a storyline there as well. And so in my dreams, these 6 or 7 people will be mixed match most of the time. My grandmother is always my grandmother. My uncle has always been my uncle. But my children, we have wonderful play dates in the astral, and that has always been wonderful. None of this hate and plots and schemes and negative energy stuff ever exists for us there. We always have a good time. But in other types of dreams where I feel like there are different timelines that we are existing in, they are not always the same age. Sometimes they are closer in age. Sometimes one is there and the other is not. Sometimes one is there and his aunt is the other one's aunt and not the aunt that is their aunt in this reality. So we can have glimpses, which is very much like astral projection. I was also asked about astral projection before I knew what a powerful dreamer that I was, and how that was a very skilled gift of mine that my ex-husband's friend, his very good friend, asked me about, and tried to like check the temperature on that to see how well I knew myself and if I had really embraced these gifts. And I had not at the time. I had no idea what astral projection was. I still don't control astral projection, but I do believe that in your dreams you can astral project to another dimension, or experience what's happening in different timelines. And some look completely different, but with the same people, sometimes playing the same or different roles mixed up as different actors, different labels, different roles. And some are very similar or the same timeline as this, but it's playing out differently. Different things are being exposed at different times. Things are not going exactly as they are here, but it's like the same storyline. So it's very interesting now that it's happening for me every single day. I don't always remember them, but I have a lot of journals, and if it is significant to me, it stands out to me, I will write it down. So I have a lot of dreams written down, but I would encourage you guys to do that too, because it's very insightful. And like I said, when it is useful to you, you will know and you will draw on that experience that you had in your dream. I definitely I've looked into dreams about animals. The bad dreams that I've had have been about animals, and I saw that in witchcraft that they definitely, when they're trying to send energy to you in your dream state, that it will be about like animal attacks. I had a dream that a bat was trying to attack me one time, like a huge bat. But then also dreams where there's animals chasing you, but they don't mean you any harm. I find that online and in books, the actual meaning that come to me, that resonate to me, when that information is needed in my physical life, my waking life here in this timeline, that it doesn't mean what the books or online says at all, not at all. So definitely write them down, keep track of them, they are important. Also keep track of the different roles if you do experience dreaming of different timelines or different, what I would call dimensions, because the different timelines are happening. Like time doesn't exist in the astral. Time doesn't exist in the spiritual realm. It is non-existent. What would seem like years for here on earth for us would be nothing in the astral, because it doesn't exist. It only exists here for us in this reality. So for you to be playing out different lives, different realities, and different dimensions at the same time is entirely possible. So do your own research on that. You don't have to take my word for it, but I've experienced it in the astral, in the spiritual realm. So I don't need as much research because I know that it is real for me and it has made sense and it has come true, and even people's karma playing out from that in my physical. So all of that has been confirmed for me, but I did also do my research about what other people had experienced and learned that it is very similar. Very similar. So always write your dreams down. You can always refer back to it if things don't come to have relevance from your dreams, like in a certain amount of time. It could be, a year down the road before you're like, oh my gosh, I dreamt about that. So write them down. Have that reference for yourself so that you can pull it back out and say, I know that I dreamt this. I just don't remember all of it. So write it down, because a lot of times, if you don't, you will forget it. The ones that are more extravagant and outrageous, you won't. You can't. It's like impossible to forget those. But to me, it is a huge gift. And I know that if I am you and you are me, that we all have these gifts. And that is one of my biggest gifts. And I want you to capitalize on that. I want you to strengthen them. I want you to be using your gifts to your advantage in the best way possible whenever you can. And that is one of the biggest ways, in my opinion, so that I can help you, for you to do that for yourself. So I love you. God loves you. You're never alone. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.